Are you thinking about moving to the Emerald Coast, but you're not sure which city on the Emerald Coast fits you best? If you're looking to be kind of near the water but away from the tourism crowd, then Niceville might be the best option for you. Heck, it's quiet, it's safe, and it's surrounded by nature. And the best part is, it's right down the road from Destin. So today we're going to be hopping on a map to show you guys absolutely everything about Niceville, what the lifestyle's like, the vibe, different things to do in the area, what the neighborhoods look like, a little bit of cost of living, as well as some beautiful homes that you can purchase out there. So without further ado, let's jump into the map and get into it. All right, now that I've got our map pulled up, let's go ahead and go through. Most people know where Destin, Florida is. So I'm going to start with Destin. This is going to be our main focal point here. You've got Niceville straight to the north. I mean, literally, if you just go straight north, you'll run right into Niceville. Now, Niceville kind of consists of this whole area right here. There's a little bit of it that tracks up here. This is all of Niceville that you're seeing right here. Now, there's two ways to get to it from Destin. You've got the Mid-Bay Bridge here. There is a toll bridge here, so you are going to have to pay, I think it's $3.50 or maybe even $4 each way now. Or, of course, you can go all the way around, up and around Eglin by the airport to get to Niceville. At the end of the day, this is about a 15-minute trek depending on how deep into Niceville you are. It could be upwards of 25 minutes if you're all the way up here in this portion of Niceville to get down into Destin. So that's how quick it is to get to the beach. Your nearest beach will be right here. Well, technically, it's this green patch right here, Henderson. Oh, I can't zoom in while I'm doing this. Right here, Henderson Beach State Park. So this is the nearest beach that you'll get to if you're in Niceville. Now, you do have water access. Of course, you've got the bay here. So, you know, those boat lovers and stuff, you guys have access to water pretty easily. You can literally just take it right down here into Crab Island pretty quickly. And if you were to take the Fort Walton Beach route, kind of going all the way around like this would take you closer to about 45 minutes. And then one last thing I want to show you is the distance to Crestview. Let me go ahead and zoom out just a little bit more. And this road right here will take you all the way into Crestview. And you're just surrounded by Eglin on each side. So it's just one road going in and out. It's pretty straightforward. And this is about a 35-minute drive. All right, now let's run through some basic stuff about Niceville. Niceville's got a population of about 18,000 people, which is surprisingly larger than Destin. Now, a lot of people don't think that because you come here during tourist season and it's just flooded with people. But Destin's only got about 14,000 people in it, and it jumps up to about 100,000 during the peak season there. So Niceville, from a population basis, is just a little bit bigger, and therefore it's got a little bit better infrastructure for certain things. Destin is built for tourism. Niceville is more built for families and schools and things like that. Now, the school district here in Niceville, since we did kind of touch on this very briefly, it is an A-rated school. It's in Okaloosa County, and Okaloosa is an A-rated school. It's one of the best ones in the entire state. So definitely good hands, really anywhere in Okaloosa County, which does include Destin, Fort Walton, and Crestview. So all the cities I just mentioned are all going to fall under that umbrella. The character of Niceville in general, when you're living there, it's nature focused, it's family, very family oriented, and kind of a suburban feel. So if you're looking for that like suburban style feel, Niceville is definitely going to need to be on your list. Now, I'm not allowed to give any of my own opinions on the school because I am a licensed real estate professional and it could be considered steering. So I'm going to be doing everything through niche.com, but you can also look at great websites like I think it's greatschools.org, and there's several others out there. Niche.com just happens to be one of them that I look at. So there's a few schools I want to go over here, and I'm going to have to start with the high school because it's the one that I undoubtedly, without failure, hear the most about. More people talk about this, and then I'll talk about the second one as well here in just a moment. But this is Niceville High right here. Let me go ahead and switch the layer on this so we can actually see it. Look at this monstrosity of a school. Their own stadium, baseball. I mean, you know, I know a lot of schools have this, but very large footprint right here in the heart of Niceville. So where does Niceville High rank? Let's go to niche.com, so I'm not using any of my own opinions. It is an A-rated school, A- in academics, B+ in diversity, teachers, college prep, clubs and activities, administration. We can look at the full report card if you'd like. You guys are more than welcome to go do any of your own research on any of this stuff. But here it's got 2,000 students in grades 9 through 12 with a student ratio of 24-1. 73% of students are at least proficient in math, 66% in reading. I never know if those are good numbers or bad numbers, so you guys can tell me in the comment sections. I'm not 100% sure. But A-rated school, located right in the smack of town right there. And from talking to clients that we've helped over 1,300 people move to this area. And a good chunk of them go to Niceville, obviously, because we cover everything from Pensacola to Panama City. And so this is kind of a hot zone that a lot of people like to move to. The number one thing that I hear over and over is, I'm going there because of the schools. I'm going there because it's family friendly. I'm going there. That's not my opinion. That's just what my clients are telling us. And this is a pretty good example of that. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of the other schools as well. All right, now before we do that, I do kind of want to show you just the road here. This is the road that's running right in front of the high school. It's the most traveled on road here in Niceville. And you can kind of see it. It's very well kept. It looks sharp. It's got a big footprint, as I mentioned before. So this gives you kind of a good idea. If you've got kids in high school, you're thinking about moving down here, show this to your kids. This is what they're going to be dealing with or be participating in. And it's wild out there from what I hear. Like when it comes to wild in a good way, when it comes to like the sports and things, like the town shows up. It's a really big thing. And it's just, it's loud, it's fun, it's exciting, and they really take this stuff seriously for their sport. So that's one of the things that I hear about Niceville High a lot, are the sports, the extracurriculars, things like that. Those are the most common things that I hear parents say that they love about this. All right, now, CW Ruckle, or what we just call here in the area Ruckle Middle School, is the second one that I hear about quite a lot. Apparently it's pretty good too. It's got an A- according to niche.com. You can kind of go on this site, check out all this stuff. And if you guys have children at this age, it's not going to be that far from where they were before for the high school. So you can see the high school right here. If we just head just a little bit north, we'll see the middle school here. So it's all going to kind of blend in or be very seamless for your children, which will be awesome here. So let's go and take a peek at this one. I actually want to see the photos on this one instead of actually taking you guys down into the map. This is, I've not done this yet, so I don't know what I'm looking at here. I thought it was going to be a lot more about the school. Here you can see there's only like 4 pictures in here, so it wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. But the big point is, it's, the main 2 schools there, all right in the same area. Now, so as you can see, Ruckle Middle School, another A-rated school, but the big thing that they focus on here is STEM. So science, technology, engineering, and math, I think, is what that stands for. Please keep in mind, I don't have children, so I'm just kind of going off memory here. But that's their big focus here in the middle school. Now, don't worry, those of you that don't really care about the schools as much, we're going to get into neighborhoods next, which is definitely where everybody's going to get a little bit of value from if you're considering this as an area for you to live. So this is one of 2 elementary schools that I'm aware of out here, and I'm going to go over both of them because I think they're both pretty popular. But this is Blue Water Elementary, so a lot of the folks that are living here in Blue Water Bay, which is this whole area right here, they're generally taking their kids to Blue Water. It just makes the most sense. It's right there. It's what it's zoned for. And that's what this is right here. So I'm going to go and switch layers again so you can see it. Again, large footprint, a neighborhood all around it. We'll be talking about, this neighborhood. We showcased off this neighborhood in a previous video, so we'll throw that somewhere up here, or it'll be down in the description if you guys want to check that out, because it's so cool. They actually have a part of the neighborhood here where there's this whole bike area. I think it's right here covered by the trees, where all these kids from this neighborhood park their bikes and then they walk right in. And then they close it and lock it off, whenever school starts. So don't worry, kids aren't going to be able to escape on you, or anybody's going to be able to run into the school from that area. But still pretty cool. It's a gated community. But this is Blue Water Elementary here. All right, now the other elementary school I want to talk to you guys about is Edge Elementary, and that is over here. So if you're on this side of town, this is probably where your elementary aged children will go. And let's go and look at the map here. So as we switch the layers here, you guys kind of see the footprint here. Another great school. Now, there's one more that I generally wouldn't talk about this, except I think it's kind of neat because you can kind of keep everything in the family, in the same area, because not only can they go to elementary, middle, and high here, they can also go to college here. So Northwest Florida State College is right here. It's got a lot of higher education options, as well as even while your kids are going to school, especially if they're in, juniors, seniors, stuff like that. A lot of them will go over there to either expedite their schooling or get additional schooling, learn on something very specific, stuff like that. All right, and as we look at this one, we've got an A+ on this one. Academics, teachers, diversity, college prep, administration. Apparently clubs and activities only gets a C, so it's just on par with other ones. But everything else, as you can see, pretty solid there. And then this is the footprint here. Very, very large. I mean, it's a full-blown campus, obviously. There's a lot going on over here, but this is where it is located right here. All right, I thought I'd do something a little bit fun in this one. So I reached out to a bunch of my past clients and friends that live out in Niceville, and I said, hey, give me a couple of words that you feel describe Niceville, whether it's the schools or just Niceville in general. And here are the 5 or 6 that were said to me. Family friendly. This one came up a bunch, okay? It was probably the one that was said the most. Family friendly, safe neighborhoods, those kind of went hand in hand pretty consistently. Community events was another one. Hey, I love all the events they're always doing. There's always something going on. There's, these big festivals or smaller little, farmers markets, things like that. Sports leagues were really big with the folks that I knew that had families, had children in school. So that was a big one. Walkable areas, which was not what I was expecting, although it does make sense when I'm thinking about it. Most of these neighborhoods we're going to go over today, just completely walkable, and you see it all the time, especially like in Blue Water Bay is one of the neighborhoods we're going to talk about. And it's just every time I go through, there's people walking, biking, running, you just getting their steps in whatever way they need to do it. And it's pretty cool. And then the last one, which I thought was interesting, I almost didn't put this one in here, but active parent involvement was one. When I asked her to elaborate a little bit, it was like basically this was primarily with the schools, the PTOs, stuff like that. They're actually listening. They're listening to the parents. They're doing actionable items based on what the parents say, and I thought that was pretty cool because you don't always get that in every school system. All right, so now that we got schools out of the way, because that's the number one thing when people are asking about Niceville, like that's what keeps coming up. I wanted to get that out of the way early in this video. Let's go ahead and jump into 4, or actually let's do 5 different neighborhoods. There are 5 pretty big named neighborhoods here in Niceville that I think would be pretty cool to go over. And then I'll go over some of the cool stuff that the amenities that each of these offer and just kind of show you a little bit. We're going to jump back into the map here. And let's go for it. So the first one we're going to start with is Blue Water Bay. It's got the largest footprint out of all of these neighborhoods. It's this entire area. It actually kind of ends like right here, but this is essentially Blue Water Bay. So this whole thing here is tons of different houses. We've got a marina. We've got a golf course. We've got a waterfront restaurant. We've got pools and tennis courts, walking trails. We've got obviously a ton of different properties, and you've got a little bit mix of everything. You've got single family homes are definitely going to be the primary here, but you've got a few condos, a few townhomes, although they are a little bit more scattered. They're not as common here in Blue Water Bay, but they are there. And then the prices in Blue Water Bay are going to range anywhere from about $340,000. And this is at the time of shooting this video, so please keep that in mind that if you're watching this a year or two later, obviously these prices have changed. Call us for updated pricing. But as of right now, in the last year, $340,000 to $1.9 million. Now, the $1.9 million is a little bit of an offshoot because it's one of these waterfront ones that you'll see here. So it generally goes up to about $800,000 unless one of those sells, and then it kind of makes the number look a lot higher. But that's it. And we're going to be showing you guys some homes as well. But first, I want to take you through the neighborhood and take you through some of those cool things that I mentioned. So let's start. First and foremost, I want to go to the marina, which is located right here by LJ Schooners, which is also our waterfront restaurant we're going to talk about. They're sort of mixed into one here. As you can see, the marina here. We've got this in Ward Cove, so it kind of protects it from the waves when the storms come in, which is a perfect place to have a marina. You want your boats to be safe. And then we've got LJ Schooners right here attached to the marina complex as well. Oops, I thought I was clicking to this thing. And that's it right there. So you can have your boat here. You can dock your boat up, come in here, grab some food. Let's go ahead and take a look at LJ Schooners. I actually want to see if they've got any cool pictures for us. Oh, perfect. So you're looking for that like pirate feeling bar. That's LJ Schooners. It's always fun. It's lively. They have live bands there quite often. The staff is excellent. Drinks are priced well. It's not like they're not costing an arm and a leg to come out here. I've never eaten at LJ Schooners personally, but I'm sure the food's just fine here. So as you can see, kind of typical bar food with a great view here. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Guy on a guy or a girl. I'm assuming a guy, just based on the figure here, doing a little stand-up paddleboarding. It's super cool. Got a little pitcher of Bud Light with a beautiful view. Like this is the cool part. You see these jet skis right here. Like this is actually what you can do. You want to go rent jet skis out in Destin. You want to come up here, take a load off a little bit, grab a beer, grab a bite to eat. You can literally pull up your jet ski right to it, which I think is so stinking cool. Look at these views. If you're coming here, at nighttime, you kind of see the outside area, all these beautiful lights. Like, they do a really good job here. Oh, and the oysters. You got to have oysters out here. All right, so that's the waterfront and the marina there. Let's go ahead and take you guys on over to the golf course. So this is the golf club right here. As you can kind of see, golf club at Blue Water Bay. Big parking lot, plenty for you and your friends to, do a little golf tailgating if you wanted to. And then the course is kind of all around here. As you can see, these little patches right here. So you're going to be kind of zigzagging all around. This is more like in the center of it than it is on one side or another where you're coming all the way back. So you'll be driving in and out here, but beautiful course. It is not my favorite course in Niceville personally, but that's mainly just because I'm biased to the Eglin Air Force Base one. It's beautiful and it's dirt cheap. I don't know how they keep it so cheap. This one's a little bit more pricey. You can see it's all scattered through here. Let's see if they've got any cool pictures here that I could show you guys. Oh, great. Perfect. Look at these greens. Like, they just do an incredible job here. Apparently this guy's taking a video of them swinging, but you got waterfront holes, which is always a good thing. Like, look at this. Beautiful. Absolute. Well, some of it, it's Florida after all. We got some patches of dirt, all right, or sand. Got some good food here in the clubhouse. A cool guy driving a bird, and this is their inside clubhouse area here in the restaurant, which is pretty cool. Their bar and grill, which I think is called. I can't think of the name. I think it's just bar and grill. Actually, it might be, but. I've not personally eaten here, but they're always doing events, or not always, but they sometimes do events and stuff, as you kind of saw with a couple of these pictures, and that's it. So let's go ahead and move on from the golf course and talk about some of the some of the pools, tennis courts. They're kind of scattered all around here. All right, so when you want to get to tennis or pickleball, the pools, there's a couple of different ways you can get into Blue Water Bay. You've got this one. There's a couple, I think there's a couple other smaller ones as well. This is the most popular one because it's just by a big light and you come on all the way in. If you were to take this light all the way down and go to this little blue thing right here, this is where you're going to see the pickleball courts. As you can see, they're actually newer in the last year or two. And then one of the pools here, and I'm not going to show you guys all the pools because they're just scattered all around. Some of the individual neighborhoods inside of Blue Water Bay have their own as well. So definitely a cool thing there. And then if we head just a little bit further north, we will see the tennis center. This is just a few tennis courts. There's a whole center here. There's always tennis competitions going on, tournaments going on. There's a whole clubs. There's multiple of them. It's like a really big thing out here. So whenever they're doing it out here, it's always really busy. It's a good time. These people are out here sweating their faces off, playing some tennis. So that's pretty cool. So that's Blue Water Bay in and of itself. And let's go ahead and take a moment. We're just going to kind of wander the streets for a moment. We'll show you guys some housing prices and stuff like that. But just keep in mind, to be in this neighborhood, around 340 to about 800,000 realistically. But in the last year, it went up to about 2.9. So I'm just going to kind of pick a random one. Bimini Way sounds like kind of a cool little neighborhood here. Let's take a look at the style of homes that you're going to see. So Blue Water Bay, you're going to get a healthy mix of a bunch of different things. One of the cool things about Blue Water Bay, though, is that the plots of land that you're getting are slightly bigger than in some other areas here. Now, it might not look like it. You're looking at it probably, depending on where you're coming from. You might be looking at this going, holy cow, those houses are right on top of each other. The actual footprint's a little bit bigger than it looks like. You've got this kind of larger front yard area and then the backyards as well. It's very mature back here with the trees. As you can see here, you've got these just monstrous trees that have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And that's what all of Blue Water Bay is essentially. So it was just sort of a random at-a-glance thing. We'll be looking at some of these houses as well. There's definitely smaller areas inside of Blue Water that have ritzier homes. There's definitely some that are a little bit more entry level. And I'm guessing by the neighborhood that I just sort of randomly picked here, it looks like it's kind of right in the middle of that. So it's a pretty good sample size of what you can expect out here. Oh, look, there's one for sale in this picture. That's kind of cool. All right, so that's Blue Water Bay. The next neighborhood I want to talk about is Swift Creek. Now, Swift Creek is going to be a little bit more pricey. It's a little bit more exclusive, but let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, we have made it over to Swift Creek. Let me zoom out a little bit before I show you what I was going to start showing you to get your bearings. This is on kind of the north side of Niceville. You kind of see these little roads scattered here. Let me switch the layers and kind of see it all right here. So this is your Swift Creek area here. And Swift Creek's super interesting. They've got some really cool kind of like hidden things that you wouldn't necessarily know about. And I thought that was going to auto erase on me, but it did not. So we're just going to do that bad boy here. All right, so the cool thing about Swift Creek, if you are wanting your kids to go to Rocky Bayou Christian School, this is another one I hear a lot about. Actually, one of our past clients, a good friend of mine, works out here, and she swears by the school, really likes it. But it's right here on the outskirt of Swift Creek. So Swift Creek is not that big, as you can see here. But there is like a cool little hidden pathway right here that kind of runs up this gambit. In fact, I think you can see it here. It ends at one of these two buildings. I can never remember which one, but nice little thing there. You've got your little pool, your tennis court. The pool's a little bit odd shape. The community center here. It's got some cool stuff. I'll show you one of the pictures because there's a bunch of pictures in here. I started clicking through them. I was actually shooting when it happened, and I realized that a bunch of these are just like people's individual pictures. It's kind of odd, but there's only a few of them. But you do have access to this. You do have access to the pool. The nature trails, as I mentioned, there's a couple of them. The big one that I know of kind of runs this whole gambit on the backside of these homes here, and it's a pretty cool little walk. The pricing here in Swift Creek is going to escalate a little bit. You're looking at, on the low end, $850,000. On the higher end, $1.3 million. That's sort of what you can expect here in Swift Creek. I'm going to drop us in and just kind of choose, what is this, Harvest Creek here. So as you can see here, larger footprint homes, very well manicured. Everything's pretty. And yes, I said pretty. This guy's got a basketball hoop. That's awesome. And these are the kind of homes that you're seeing here in Swift Creek. We can kind of keep going through this gambit. We got 3-car garage here. And, you know, these little map videos or this little tool that I'm using probably isn't doing these justice, but we'll be looking at inside of some of these. We're actually going to break it out into new construction as well as resale so you guys can get a pretty good idea on what that looks like. So that's Swift Creek. Now I want to move over to Parkwood Estates. This is one that we've done a full video on before. As I mentioned, I kind of alluded to it earlier, that it goes right into this school, and it's this whole area here. So this is Parkwood Estates. We've got a full-blown video if you want to go deeper into that, but I'm going to show a couple of things that I really liked about this area. Number one was that I think it's right here. Actually, you know what? I could just drop this little guy. Oh, no, it doesn't let me go in there. No, I can't show you guys that. This is as close as I can get. Okay, so you can see the gated community here. And then if you continue to go on this one, I might actually be backwards. You continue to go down here, you'll see a little bike area where all the kids will have it. And there'll be like 100 bikes out there. Like, it's crazy how many kids are biking and walking in through this area. Definitely a cool little thing here. So I don't get to walk you guys through the neighborhood on this one, apparently. But just know, very cool neighborhood. You're looking at about $450,000 to about $700,000 here in this area, gated community, and then the walking path to Blue Water. They've also got, where is the, yeah, right here. So they've got this cool little lake area here. This whole bed here is, you know, you'll see people out here hanging out, drinking a delicious soda or what have you to enjoy the water a little bit. We've got a couple of those little hidden things and a couple of little parks as well. All right, next up is Rocky Bayou Country Club. This is another one that it's kind of widespread in the pricing. So you're looking at about $430,000 all the way up to about $2.4 million. Again, that $2.4 million was a one-off, although they do have several of them here. This is located just east of Swift Creek neighborhood. And you've got a country club here, which means you've got golf, as you can see. Some beautiful, beautiful courses. I've never actually played this one, so I don't have personal account of this one. So I'm kind of learning this right along with you guys. It's one that I haven't tried yet. This is their little clubhouse here. See, they've got events here. You got some people, you know, shooting their shots there. So nice little course. I'm going to go back out all of this. I'm going to show you the neighborhood. Let's see if I can get rid of all those pop-ups here. All right, so the big thing with Rocky Bayou is bigger lots for the most part. They're even going to be a little bit bigger than Blue Water Bay in general. But of course, all of these neighborhoods that we're talking about, except for the last one, are generally going to have slightly bigger lots as well. You've got golf course views if you're one of the houses that are right there on the golf course. You've got the golf course, which is great, and then sort of the pricing. So let's go ahead and see if I can drop us in here. Let's go to Callaway Drive. And reminds me of all the balls I lose every time I play. So this one is actually kind of on top of each other when it comes to the houses. It's not all of Rocky Bayou Country Club. So let's see if I can kind of, actually, let's go ahead and see if I can drop us into a different area of Rocky Bayou here. All right, here we go. So, this is where a lot of the land is. It's like sitting on the front. That's why these lots tend to be a little bit bigger. And it's sort of a Niceville thing in general. We've got generally larger front areas, larger back areas, but the houses are still relatively close to each other. So if that's not something you like, keep in mind that I said at the beginning of the video that Niceville is kind of landlocked with the Air Force Base all around us. So there's only so much we can do. But if you do want a little bit of, walking around room, you can kind of see how much you're getting here. You're definitely not going to be able to play a full game of pickup football in your backyard in most of these homes, but still enough to stretch your legs a little bit. And again, we'll go through some prices on some houses on this here in just a minute. Now, the last one that I want to go over is one that I've kept. I don't talk about that often. We did a full-blown video. We shedded very good light on this neighborhood, and they shoved lawyers down our face and lost their minds that we did a video about their neighborhood. So I don't go into the neighborhood. I don't show those anymore, but I can do it all through here. I could have easily just kept going with it. We did take down the video just to kind of help them out. But it is Deer Moss Creek. Now, Deer Moss Creek is beautiful. I've got some friends that lived in there. They've since moved away. Actually, one of the agents that was on my team, she moved up there. Beautiful homes, beautiful neighborhoods, a master plan development, which is way different than everything else you're seeing here for the most part. Blue Water Bay was master plan and Rocky Bayou Country Club. I guess Swift Creek kind of was too. So these were kind of master plans, but Deer Moss Creek is really doing it. When I say fully master plan, they've thought about this thing. It's in like 8 different phases or something, and I don't even know if that's accurate anymore. When they first started, it was 4 phases, and it was like 7. I don't know how many phases they're into now, but the entire point with the family and the companies that are building this out is to have a whole ecosystem. So that's what I mean by master plan. You're going to have shopping right inside of your neighborhood. You're going to have businesses to go to. You're also going to have houses and apartments and townhomes. You're just going to have a full gambit of everything right here in Deer Moss Creek, and it's still being built out. Now, with that, the pricing in Deer Moss as of right now in the last year has been somewhere between $550,000 and $1.3 million. With a lot of the initial houses kind of hovering in the $700,000 to $900,000 range. Some of the newer phases that are coming out are a little bit lower on the price point, but the initial phase was a little bit higher. It was brand new construction, and it's like the best builders in our area. One of my buddies, in fact, if you call us and you say, hey, I want a custom builder, I've got one guy I go to specifically, and he's a builder out there. They have to go through, all of these hoops to be able to become a builder here in Deer Moss Creek. So let's go ahead and zoom on in, see if I can drop us in here. Yeah, we can drop in on a small part of it. This part's pretty new, so I'm guessing the Google trucks or cars have not driven through here. It is brand new construction. Please keep that in mind, which means you're going to see a lot of dumpsters. You're going to see a lot of things going on. But this is sort of, oh, wow, that one's blurred out. That rarely happens. You can actually apparently get your house blurred out. Somebody told me that once. I didn't know. I almost never see it. So that's kind of interesting there. So anyway, these are the kind of style of houses. This is more of a craftsman style here. But great builders all around. There's not a builder in here that I wouldn't trust personally, at least of the ones that I know. I think there's only like 8 or 9 builders allowed in here. They're all individuals, so they've all got their own flair, their own, touches that they like putting into the properties and stuff like that. And then you've got like these cool little areas here. Let me see if I can get us over there. We've got a little pavilion right here. And this is sort of one of the main roads coming in. The actual entrance is right over here. There's a lot of blurred out stuff on this one. I'm not used to seeing that. It's super interesting. So anyway, Deer Moss Creek is going to have that full gambit of everything that you're looking for. As you can see, when I kind of zoom in, you've already got, some businesses coming in. This looks like it's at somebody's house. blender repairs. It looks like it's probably somebody's house as well. But you'll start seeing some of the other stuff. This is the enclave here. Oh, I wonder if they have stuff, pictures and stuff. Oh, they got a couple. Let's see what they got. All right, so this is the enclave. Nice, cool little area. Some places to work in here. Some, just fun stuff. Pool area, all of that. I wish it was kind of showing all of this from this area, but you kind of get the point. You kind of see what they're doing here. It's probably going to be a few more years till the thing's built out. In fact, it might even be another decade. I'm not 100% sure what their timeline is, but as you can see, they've got a big footprint to mess with. But with that, you're going to have some HOA fees and things like that. So we definitely want to go over a little bit of that. But first, I want to go into some of the lifestyle here in Niceville as well. I'm going to go and move this out of the way. Some of these things that I'm about to go over, I've already done videos on. If you want to see more of this, we've got a whole playlist on all things Niceville that you can learn all of this stuff. So if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, this kind of seems like it. I need to learn a little bit more. I need to actually see it. I need you guys out in the streets. We've got a bunch of those videos and we'll continue doing them. So go through our channel, look at the Niceville playlist, and just run through it and just learn all about Niceville if it's something that is interesting to you. Or as always, you guys can always pick up the phone, give us a call, text, email, follow us on social, DM us, however you want to get a hold of us. I'm going to throw our information right here on the screen. You can absolutely do that anytime that you would like. So let's go over some of the cool recreational stuff. We're going to start with Fred Gannon, Rocky Bayou State Park. So this is one where it's really cool for kayaking and picnics and just getting out in nature in general. The restrooms are always pretty clean right here. You've got another one over here. You've got a dock over here as well. You can pull up, launch your boat from it, and it's just a couple of bucks. I want to say it was $2 to get in, and that would be paid for right here by this gentleman or lady that is working here. You can pull in, lots of parking. There's just some cool stuff to do, a little canoe launch, stuff like that. So biking, kayaking, picnics, that kind of stuff. Now, we've got Turkey Creek Nature Trail. This is probably one of my favorite places to go for a little walk. All right, so one of my favorite things, or one of my favorite areas to walk in is Turkey Creek Park right here. So this is on the west side of Niceville. You can kind of see a little parking area here. It actually looks a little bit better than this picture is depicting here. I wonder if it's going to let me drop in here. I'll kind of be able to show you a part of it. So this is the parking area here. You've got restrooms right here, little clubhouse style picnic area here with just a ton of picnic tables. And when you go through that, that's where you start going through the park and being able to actually walk. You've got launches here if you want to do paddle boarding, shaded trails. If you want to swim down this creek, that's what a lot of people do. They'll actually take it all the way up here because this is, that's kind of cool. You can see part of the trail here, which is actually just like wooden planks. It's almost like a long running dock essentially. So you're not going to have to worry about broken foot trails and roots and stuff like that. So if that's a concern to you, then this is a good area to go. There is an area once you get all the way to the end where you could continue going, and it's kind of like that kind of path, but almost nobody ever goes through there. In fact, every time I go through there, I feel like I'm the only one that's been there for weeks because there's cobwebs and stuff still up. But it's basically running through, and what people do, there's 6 or 7 stations. You can see one of them right here, almost like a little dock-looking thing. They'll take their little tube or paddleboard, what have you, and walk it all the way back and then just float all the way down and then walk it back again and float all the way down. It takes about 30 minutes to an hour to get through, depending on how fast you float. But very, very cool, 1.5 mile walk, maybe something like that. I don't remember the exact distance, but I want to say it's about 1.5 miles. Let's see if we can actually get some cool pictures of it. Yeah. So this is what it looks like, the whole walk. It's so cool. And they'll have these little pictures and stuff up. This is actually one of the little dock areas that I was just telling you about. You can jump in the water. It's some pictures a little grainy here, but these are the kind of views. This is that picnic table area that I was just talking about that you walk through here, and that's where you start. Yeah, here it is right here. I had a feeling that had some pictures. This is one of the little dock areas. You can see how shallow it is. You're not swimming in this thing. It's just a couple of feet in most of the areas. And as far as I know, it's gator free. There's a lot of humans and stuff here, but just keep your eyes peeled if you are going to go to it. But they've got these signs and stuff that'll tell you hey, these are these kind of trees and stuff like that. So kind of cool. Cool little park. All right, we already went through the Blue Water Bay Arena, which was the next thing I was going to throw on the list, but we've already kind of gone through that a little bit. One of the other things is nightlife. So nightlife, day life, whatever. There's a really cool brewery here. It's sort of a hot spot. It is probably the most popular place in town. Like, this is where so many people are going, and it just keeps growing and growing. They've had to like grab extra land to make parking for it. And the name of this brewery is Third Planet, right here, the mothership. So you can kind of see, oops, nope, I'm clicking on stuff I did not want to click on. It's right here, right by the Walmart. You can kind of take back roads here if you wanted to. This is the main light here to come in. You get a little roundabout, and this is it. When I was saying that, it's getting so popular, they're grabbing all the land around us, like this all becomes a parking lot. In fact, if you go here on a busy night when they're doing trivia or they're doing, some name thing or just a standard Friday or Saturday, like, it will be packed. This is a great, great little spot to go. And we've done videos here too, so you can find this in those playlists. I wonder if I can actually drop our little guy here. I can get kind of close. So, big brewery right here. The entrance is right here. The inside area is actually fairly small. It maybe holds like 40 people, standing room. There's maybe 4 seats inside. Most of it's going to be on the outside. Hopefully they'll have some good pictures here. They brew their own beers. They also have guest beers in there all the time. There is not a full bar, I don't believe. I think it's just 100% brews. You can see, what they've got going on here. They've got some merch and stuff like that as well. And yeah, so you can kind of see the inside area here. There's only a couple of seats, and then you got people standing up at the bar waiting to order. And then they've got this whole outside area. This is pre-construction. There's always food trucks out here, and they're always rotating. This is one of the areas they do trivia nights in. They do all these cool lights and stuff. They've got a whole kid play area where it's fenced off, and it's got like this turf and stuff. Hopefully they've got some pictures of it. They do concerts here, live music. And maybe it's not going to show me in that kids area. Maybe it will. Okay, so you can kind of see a part of it here. That's like the stage area. Let's see if it'll show it to us. Nope, it's not going to. All right. Well, they do have a kids area. It's all, foam or something. It's some sort of like softer material. And it's actually this area right here. So you could throw your kids in there, have your brew. It's dog friendly. Great spot to go to. Niceville wasn't so far away from where I live. I would probably go there more often. Really cool spot. So the very last thing that I wanted to go over with you guys as far as lifestyles, one of the biggest events they do is the Boggy Bayou Mullet Festival. Now, this is not the mullet like your hair. This is the mullet fish, okay? So it's a whole festival about the fish. Although, as you can imagine, we're in Florida, so what do people do? They put on, some people grow out their mullets for it. They'll put on mullet wigs, stuff like that. But it's located just north of town here. It's just a big fairground area. There's not really a whole lot to show you here other than this is where they do that big event. It's basically like a big fair. They have like the zipper and rides, and you can play games like you would at the fair to win prizes, big stuffed animals, shoot the little star out or shoot the basketballs, climb the ladder and fall down on it, stuff like that. But a cool event that they do, and it's generally a pretty good time. It's 3 or 4 days for the most part. In fact, I think it's always 3 or 4 days. I can never remember if it's 3 or 4. It's one of those two. And they have big headliners out there. Now, they haven't done it the last couple of years, so I'm hoping they're bringing it back. I heard that they were bringing it back this year, so we'll have to see. But they generally have like these big names, and a lot of them are country bands or country singers. We had Toby Keith one year. We had a bunch of different people that have played here. And so it's a pretty good time there. They'll have some local headliners as well. I know one of my favorite local bands out here, the Shenanigans, or I think it's just Shenanigans, not the Shenanigans. I can't remember. But anyway, they're pretty good. They'll play out here sometimes too. And then they'll have like the big headliners and things like that. So let's go ahead and jump into the pricing because we've been going through all of this. And if you made it this far, you're looking at it going, all right, not that bad of an area to live in. Now let's talk about the pricing, Andrew. Let's actually dig into it. So by the way, my name is Andrew, or you guys call me Mongo. All of my information will pop up on the screen. If you guys are curious about moving down here, you want to talk to us, you want to go through this with us, it's one of the things that we do. We're trying to map your move. We're trying to help you guys out and show you guys everything before you get here. I don't want you guys purchasing in an area that doesn't fit what you guys are looking for. So the very first thing that we do with you when you guys call in is we try to schedule you for a consultation. We're going to jump on Zoom together. We're going to jump in the maps. We're going to talk about what it looks like to purchase with us, and we're going to try to narrow down the area. a lot of you guys that are watching on YouTube, it's been really good because you already kind of know the area. You've been watching me for months or sometimes even years. Thank you to the returning folks that are watching me still. Just ramble on about how amazing this area is. Well, thank you for watching either way. You guys can contact us if you guys want to go through any of this stuff. We can definitely help you out. And getting in touch with us early is generally a good thing. I generally suggest like 3 to 6 months out, but it's never too early. If you're a year out, you just want to have a conversation to kind of narrow down your focus so you're not looking at the whole Emerald Coast. That's exactly what we do. We're here to help you. We also have a 38-page guide that will help you kind of narrow that down as well. So if you guys want that, I'll throw a QR code right here. If you're watching on your TV, just take a picture of it with your phone. It'll take you right to it. There's no wall blocking it. You don't need to give us any information. It's just the guide. And then, if you guys have any questions, just call us. Now, let's go into the multiple listing service. This is the, let's go ahead and X out of this. And let's go ahead and look at some of these neighborhoods and actually talk about what some of the pricing looks like and what the inside of these homes actually look like. So first, we're going to start with new construction. And I'd like to go through a couple of the different cities towns, not towns. So the first thing I want to do is go through some new construction here in Niceville to kind of go over some of the pricings so that you guys can kind of get a good idea if new construction is what you're looking for. Oops. And if it is not, then we'll go over some resales as well. So I'm just going to do detached single family. That seems to be like the most common one. In fact, actually, this will be pretty good just to show you like condos here. This is everything that's for sale in here. So condos, pretty rare. You've got a few here in Blue Water Bay, a few here by Parton Drive North. And then townhomes, you'll see these scattered kind of all over the place. Not too many of them. So this is detached single family, right? It's kind of the big thing, which is why we're always like, hey, this is where the families want to go. This is part of the reason. It's just built for it, right? So let's go ahead and go through some of these. I want to first talk here in Deer Moss Creek because this is where a lot of the new construction is going to be. And let's actually put our occupancy status as new. This is the kind of stuff we do with you guys, by the way, when you guys call in. We'll set you up on one of these searches. We do have to talk to you before we set you up on that, so I'm sorry about that. But this is the new construction sitting here in Deer Moss Creek. As you can see, phase 1's already built out, so they're starting to build out in phase 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Oops, I didn't narrow this down to this area. Let's do that real quick. All right, so now we've got prices here in Deer Moss Creek starting at $635,000 and going to about $974,000. So if that's the price range that you're looking in, these are the style of homes you get. And here on the lower end of that, you got a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2,008 square feet. Basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the entry level. I'll show you one like in the midway, and then I'll show you one of the more expensive ones because, it's fun and you might be interested. So this is one of the kind of like, there's no garages on these, which I'm not a big fan of. But it's an easy way to get into Deer Moss Creek. As you can see, the builds here are beautiful. This one's staged, ready to go. Oops. Oh, well, that's probably helps you guys out that I made this a little bit bigger. You can see the kitchen here. I like that. White stainless steel. This is sort of what you're getting in the entry level here in Deer Moss Creek. Move this out of the way here. And then let's go ahead and look at middle of the road here. So let's say about 700. Yeah, it's about middle of the road. One of these two right here. This is another one of those side entries. In fact, this looks like it's right next to the one we were just looking at. So with these, how they've built them is on a few of these plots, which the two that I happen to pick happen to be these lots. They're these like skinnier, longer lots. In fact, here, if I show you in the map, you'll kind of get an idea. Yeah, so they're trying to jam these in to this area, and with that, they can't go that wide. So you're seeing like these like long, narrow houses. I'm not personally a really big fan of, but let's see if I can click off that. Yeah, there we go. And somebody took pictures with their cell phone. So cool. It's one of my big pet peeves. Real estate agents, you can do better. 715,000. They're taking cell phone photos. All right, now let's look at the big one right here, 311. This is in that same area, but you notice this one's on one of the bigger plots here. So instead of being right here in the middle where it's going to be those longer, narrower homes on each side. And some of them have garages in the back, by the way, on some of these. That's what this like little road here is. It's to get to your garage. I'm just not a fan of that either. This one, oops. This one does have a garage right here, 2-car, a little bit of a breathing room, and just beautiful. For $1 million it should be, right? So kind of cool. This is what you're getting here in Deer Moss Creek. Now, when we're looking at new construction in Niceville as a whole, kind of taking out those main neighborhoods that we're talking about, because we didn't even talk about this whole section here, which is where most people that live in Niceville are going to live. So this is going to be scattered a little bit. You've got some older homes. You've got some newer. They're basically taking old 50s, 60s homes, tearing them down, and rebuilding. So if you're looking at new construction in Niceville as a whole, not just Deer Moss Creek, it's going to start almost at $500,000 and work its way up to about $1.5 million. It's probably a waterfront one, and it's looking to be built sort of thing. So when we're looking at this, if you want to get entry level, brand new build here in Niceville, this is sort of what it's going to look like to start with. As you can see here, the builders are offering 5.65. That's one of the big advantages with the new construction, by the way, is a lot of these builders are able to offer a better rate than you can get through a lender. What they're basically doing is they either own the lender or they have a really good partnership with them, and that lender is paying it down. And they're using kind of all of their advantage. Now, Niceville doesn't have as many of the big builders that are offering this. That's more of a Crestview, Navarre, Santa Rosa Beach sort of thing. Destin, even, D.R. Horton, stuff like that, like the bigger names, because they own the title company, the mortgage company, and the building company. So they can just take a little bit off of here, a little bit off of there. They take a little bit from the purchase price to pay down the interest rates, things like that. That's what they're doing. So definitely kind of cool. And this is what you're getting for about $500,000. I wish that kitchen was just a little bit bigger, for paying $500,000 for it. But it's still beautiful home. Looks like it, kind of just got finished. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go middle of the road here. Let's go down to around 15, 16. Red Deer Run here. Let's see where this is at. Oh, this is way up there. This is like outside of the... Oh, this is in Deer Moss. I wonder why this didn't show up earlier. Or maybe it did and I just overlooked it. So we got another one here in Deer Moss, a little bit further north where they're building out. More cell phone photos, just the best. And then here on the higher end, I'm just going to go to the 1 million one because these ones probably don't have very many pictures. This one doesn't either. Let's see if these have any photos. Yeah, they're kind of putting up photos as they go. But that's new construction. But most of Niceville is not new construction. So let's go ahead and look at some of the resale. And we'll go ahead and take a peek at those. And I want to do this with each of the main neighborhoods outside of Deer Moss since we've already done that. So let's go ahead and start with Rocky Bayou. Actually, Blue Water Bay is already on here, so we're just going to start there. So Blue Water Bay only has 2 properties. That can't be right. All right, we're going to go ahead and block off Blue Water Bay here so we can look at some of these resales. I'm not going to get it perfect. I just need it kind of in the ballpark here. This is what you're kind of expecting here. Your pricing starting at about $340,000. This has a what looks like a 3-car garage, or am I wrong here? Nope, 2-car. I was wrong. A nice little courtyard area. This looks like a 70s home, maybe 80s. Yeah, 1986. Very yellow walls. This is the entry level here. Almost kind of feels like an office building, doesn't it? Kind of strange. That's the entry level. If you want to be under $400,000, you've got 4 or 5 options. So that's definitely cool. Let's go down to around 14 here, and let's look at the mid. So this is around $500,000, which is around about where the pricing is going to be here in Blue Water Bay for a good chunk of it. As you can see here, there's a lot of them. Big footprint, as I was kind of mentioning. This one's right by the water, which is really nice. We're kind of showcasing off that feature. There's a lot of colors in this kitchen that are clashing a little bit. It's not my thing. I'm not very aesthetically driven, but even I can see that. That's kind of it's almost like a bluish hue to it. Very interesting. I don't dislike it. It's kind of interesting. So, nice 1980s home. Oh, 1979. I was off by a year. That's kind of what you can expect. This is a 2-story. This one's a little bit different. Let's go to this one here because most of what you're going to see in Niceville is a 1-story. You got 1,900 square feet, 4-bed, 2-bath. Let's go and see if this one's any better. Keep in mind, guys, I haven't looked at any of these before we started, so I'm just sort of doing it with you here. I like the flooring on this one. It's pretty cool. For $500,000 here in Blue Water Bay, you get access to the marina, LG Schooners, that waterfront restaurant, golf course, pickleball courts, tennis courts, and all of that fun stuff. This is the type of home that you can kind of expect here. And then if you're on the higher end of this, maybe you want to spend $1 million or what have you. Let's look at the 2.5. We've got to look at this one, right? This one's got to be waterfront. Yeah. Oh, geez, look at those windows. Beautiful views. It's going to showcase off in the beginning, shows the back of the house. Let's get us in the house. Oh, get us in there. Yeah, we're almost in there, guys. We're getting closer. There we are. We're in. We're in. So beautiful views. It's definitely what you're paying for on this. There's some stuff that could use, some updating. This is kind of older carpet. Although, this older carpet that we've got, like, it's so padded, which is really nice. And a lot of these, like, kind of older, more pricey homes will have them from years and years. They lasted for forever, other than when they got stained. They're so soft. That was interesting. Cool. Nice little bar area. So this is what you can get for $2.5 million. It's Blue Water Bay. Let's go and go to our next section here. Let's look at a couple of houses. All right, let's take a look at what Rocky Bayou has to offer. Starting at $425, moving all the way to $1.3 million. Let's see what the entry level looks like. We got a 2-car garage, 1980s style home. So when I'm talking about the age of a home, the reason I'm doing that is because they separate the rooms a little bit differently. 70s and 80s, they believed a little bit more enclosed off. So the living room, as you can see here, it's not open concept. It's not open to everything unless they've done something. They even had these closed off kitchens here, as you can see here. A lot of people, a lot of times this was closed off completely. It used to be a wall, and people eventually cut them open because they wanted kind of an open concept here. Kind of a smaller kitchen here, but getting in Rocky Bayou at this price, look at this, though. Oh, my gosh, that's a selling point. That's beautiful. So this is sort of the entry level here. Let's go about halfway down. About $600,000 is what you can expect. As you can see, $650, $610, $600. So this is sort of the median-ish of the area. You got some cool recessed lighting. This one's an 80s style home that I think it's right on the golf course, too, which is cool. But I think they busted open some of these walls. As you can see, everything's kind of opened. Unless I miss... Yeah, no, it's in 83. Yeah, they've definitely done a little bit to this at some point. Cool house, $600,000, right? 610. And then we go to the high end of that, 1.3. We got to see this beauty. It's got a pool, so that's always cool. I like the front porch on these. I like it when a house has like a really, big front porch, even though I would never use it. I just think it's cool aesthetically. Well, there's 103 photos. We're going to try to run through this pretty quick. Got solar panels. Guys, what a pain in the butt. Please, if you guys come down here, even if you don't use us, please do your research on solar panels. Do not listen to the salesperson. I had a guy, I'm not making this up, I had a guy door knock my house. And I always try to convert them to my team. I'm like, hey, listen, if you can sell door-to-door sales, if you want to do real estate, we can help you with that sort of thing. So I'm trying to have a conversation with this guy, and he brings me out to his truck. He's driving a $130,000 dually pickup truck, beautiful truck. And he's just like, he literally looked me in the eyes. He goes, I'll tell them anything they want to hear. I don't care. I make $8,000 to $9,000 on every single one of these. I will tell them anything they want to get the sale. And it was in that moment that I was like, well, I don't want you on my team because that's not how I operate. But just know that that's the mentality of some of these solar panels. They mess things up. Appraisers are not giving them value right now. So you spend $70,000 and the appraiser, the most we've ever seen on an appraisal to date was $10,000 on a property up in Crestview. $80,000 solar panels. The appraiser says they're worth 10. That's the most. Normally, we don't see anything because there's not enough data to prove it. And then on top of that, it's generally a second loan, which somebody else can't take. And they'll tell you, the salespeople tell you, yes, you can absolutely pass this off to the next person. It's no big deal. It is a big deal. You're trying to get a loan on a house. So please don't get another loan. You know how they tell you don't buy a car, don't finance furniture, don't put a bunch in your credit card? It's because you're adding debt. If you try to add debt in the form of solar panels, it's going to hurt your sale. So a lot of times it ends up hurting the seller, and they end up having to pay cash, losing all of their equity. They have to dump into this to pay it off, to give it to the next person for free, basically, because it won't come in at value. So please be super, super careful. I'm not knocking these folks. Maybe they paid cash for it. I think there could be a time where solar is really good, but right now I'm just not seeing it. So anyway, very beautiful home. I just absolutely love all of the wood in this one. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to like that, but I dig it. Like, I like the vibe in this house so far. This is pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and move on to this area here. It's sort of the main area. See a bunch of homes here, about 40 homes. As you can see, the pricing is going to be a little bit better, starting at about $250. Whew, all right, a little breather. All right, all the 600s, 800s. This is generally where you're going to want to be in Niceville. if you're not looking to be in one of those neighborhoods with all the amenities and all of that. We didn't even talk HOAs. Most of those had HOAs as well. Let's go ahead and do what we've been doing. We're going to look at the kind of the least expensive home that's on the market right now. Probably needs a little bit of work, but no, it doesn't seem like it. It's kind of good to go. So 70s, maybe even early 70s home. Kind of hard to tell here. Ooh, I bet I could use a little spray down. But 1969, see, I almost said late 60s. 2-bed, 2-bath. 1186. Be careful about 2-bedroom homes in our area. They're super rare, so they don't generally sell as much. As we can see here, this one's got a bedroom. It's $100,000 more almost, right? Now it probably looks a little bit different. There's probably reasons for that outside of that. It's got a garage, stuff like that too. But just keep that in mind that it's a little bit harder to sell when it's a 2-bedroom home in our area. All right, let's go mid of the funnel here. That's roughly 20 properties down. So about 450 to 500,000 is kind of what you can expect for a good chunk of this part of Niceville. And if you're looking at that going like, holy cow, Mongo, that's like the same prices as Destin. Well, you're right. But this has different amenities. Destin has all the nightlife, has the tourist stuff, the shopping. Niceville has the family friendliness, the schools, suburban feel. So you're paying for something a little bit different, but you're still paying. It's still a cost. And then, of course, the higher end's probably waterfront ones because this whole area is kind of on a waterfront here. And for $1.384 million, that's what you're getting here. 2-car garage. Oh, nice little swing right by the water. That's so cool. This one's beautiful too. Of course, it's, almost 1.4 million. I would hope it's beautiful. So that's kind of what you can expect there. Let's go ahead and go back to the map. We're going to delete this, and I'm going to show you the Valparaiso area, which is probably the best priced portion. This is right outside of the back gate of Eglin. So if you're wanting to be on Eglin Air Force Base, the gate for it is right here. So you can go right into it. So let's take a look at this area here. And 12 options. It's a much smaller area. 270, so about the same pricing, all the way to about 580. So it does trend a little bit on the less pricier side. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. You got a little carport. It's a smaller home. It's pretty solid for 250. I mean, it looks good. Kitchen's a little bit smaller, but still looks good. It's got gas. It's always nice. I always think of a hospital bathroom when I see these. Not too bad, right? For $270,000, so 1956. It's a little bit older. 3-bed, 1-bath. This is another issue, right? So 2 bedrooms or just 1 bath. That's always a little bit more painful to do. But as you can see, you've got several under 300,000, so you could definitely get into Niceville. Fairly inexpensive, and then middle of the road again, probably about 400,000, which makes sense. It's about the pricing for Niceville in general. This one looks kind of cool. Looks like they flipped it. Older home that they flipped, maybe. It's got lots of pictures on the outside. Let's get inside. There we go. All right, we're inside. We're in, guys. All right. So, cool little house, right? This is sort of the run-of-the-mill, what you're expecting, what you're going to see out here. And then, just as we did before for funsies, let's go to the most expensive one. This one's a little over $500,000. 2-story. I'm not a big, super huge fan of 2-story. It's right by some commercial, too, which is sort of the Valparaiso curse here, is so much of this is going to be like with this one here, you've got these homes here, and then you've got a business right behind it. And you can't really see the homes because all these trees are covering it. Maybe this is a new construction. Oh, no, it's the last 5 years. I'm surprised it's not showing it. Maybe it's just hidden beneath all these trees. This is sort of the Valparaiso curse, where it's going to kind of look like this in certain areas where you'll have commercial by it, stuff like that. So, all right. So that was a lot of information, guys. I really appreciate you guys. If you hung on this long, comment down below. I made it through all of Andrew's ramblings. I finally made it. All right. So just a couple of other things that I want to go over is cost of living. And then we'll sort of wrap it up here. You guys can give us a call if you have any additional questions. Or as I mentioned, just go through that playlist, right? So big tip here is that a lot of Niceville, most of it is not in a flood zone. Well, it's in flood zone X, which is all of Florida is in an X. Every inch of Florida is in an X. It's a government rule. Basically, if you have a state that is touching the ocean in any capacity, the whole state has to be considered a flood zone on some level. So it's an X. So what does that mean for you? It means you don't need flood insurance. That's a really big benefit in most sections of Niceville. There are some outliers. If you're going to be on the water, you're going to be near water, you're going to be in a pathway. Like, there are some exceptions. For the most part, it's X. That's going to save you a little bit of money. So what does that mean for you as far as the flood insurance? If you want to carry it with you, and it's not required, it's only going to cost about $350, maybe $400 per year. So that's the first thing there. Now, there are HOAs. And we didn't talk about HOAs that much while we were going through the different properties, but there are, especially in those bigger name neighborhoods that we were talking about. Some of the HOAs are going to be very inexpensive. Some of them are going to be a little bit higher. So that's something that you guys want to take into account whenever you're home shopping, is that's going to be part of your monthly cost, or quarterly, or maybe it's a yearly, depending on which HOA neighborhood it is. Median home price here in all of Niceville is $503,000. If you just took the complete average in 2025 as of October when I'm shooting this, $503,000. That's median. So you can go above that, you can go below that. We just showed a bunch of examples of that. The average rent is $2,200 per month, which is a little bit lower than the median home price would be if you purchased it. And that's just the mortgage, it's not including taxes and insurance. So they're fairly comparable, but one of them you're building equity, one of them you're not. It doesn't matter to me which one you guys do. If you guys want to come down here and rent first and learn later, that's perfectly fine. But for those of you that want to purchase, we can help out with that. Insurance is going to range from about $2,500 to about $5,000 a year. Obviously, it could be higher than that if you buy a waterfront. I'm just talking about kind of the main. You're generally going to see it closer to about $3,000 for that $500,000 price point. $3,000 to $4,000 per year in insurance is kind of typical, but a lot of that's just going to depend on the type of house you buy. There's a lot of factors that go into this. This isn't just, hey, this is a 1980s home. It's, hey, it's a 1980s home. How deep are the nails in the roof? How many nails per foot? How, thick are the nails? There's just a ton of different things. The windows, entry points. There's just a lot of things that go into it. So that's why we're giving you that kind of wide range here. Then utilities are going to range somewhere around $250 to maybe $350 per month, depending on which utilities you have. If you have gas, your electric's going to be a little bit cheaper, especially if your heater's gas. And so gas is always kind of a bonus on that, because gas is dirt cheap. I've got gas in my property for my water heater and everything but my stove, basically. And my gas is like $40 a month. It's next to, and that's kind of on the high side, really. So those are your utilities. And then, of course, if you got internet, cable, stuff like that, you want to tack on top of that. And you just have to kind of price those out depending on what you want, because those always kind of range. Property taxes, you can expect around $3,000 a year. Might be a little bit higher, might be a little bit lower. Every once in a while, there's an anomaly out there where it's like $5,000 or $6,000. That does happen. So we just have to watch that. Basically, why that happens is because somebody homesteaded the property way back when and they lived in it for a long time. One of the things with homestead, which by the way is a great benefit to you guys whenever you move down here, lowers your taxes, but then it also prevents raising the taxes more than 3% once you're homesteaded. So if somebody had it homesteaded from like 1980 until now, taxes are probably going to be lower. Somebody may have tried to raise it 4% one year, and you can't be raised that much. So yours goes, while all your other neighbors go a little bit higher, yours is not going as high. It's property taxes. And then, for transportation and things like that, gas is sitting, I think it was at $2.57 this morning when I drove in. So that's sort of where it's hovering right now. I think the national average is like $3.03 or $3.09 or something like that. Our gas here is always considerably cheaper than most other areas. And I think it's just because right by the water, they can get the gas to us pretty quick. So that is a full look at all things Niceville. This was beneficial to you even a little bit. You made it this far. Please let me know in the comment section so that I can keep doing these videos. Was this too long? Was it too short? Help me out. What did you guys like? But this is a full look at everything from schools to neighborhood to lifestyles to pricing, cost of living, just everything I can think of in one video, hoping this will give you guys enough information to see if Niceville is the right place for you. As always, my name is Andrew with the Life on the Emerald Coast channel, and the Emerald Group is actually the team name we've got here. I'm going to put all of my information up here on the screen. You can give us a call, text, email, throw a carrier pigeon, however you want to get a hold of us, you absolutely can. And if you guys are curious, our social media channels will kind of show some behind the scenes stuff that we do. So if you're ever interested in that, you just kind of want to get to know me and my team better, you can absolutely follow us on Facebook and Instagram and, all of the great places that you can find social media stuff. We do videos every single week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see you guys in the next one.